Thank you. As always, I want to give all praise and glory to Lord Jesus Christ. That's number one, and what our kids have been through this year has been a lot. I want to say that we actually used Washington's ball. They left them, and I called Coach Crouch, and our Gabe really liked them, so I said, is it all right? And he actually gave us 5 or 6 more. And, I want to say that. We played for this one is a sweet one, and Montini, to beat a program as good as them, and it's won 4 in a row and has just been dominating. We wanted to show everybody that, and no offense to you Chicago folks, but there is football played south of I-80, and, we're very proud of that, and the Leonard family had a good weekend.
Questions?
Coach, how much did you talk to your team, if at all, about the opportunity to end Montini's run?
That wasn't, we didn't bring that up at all. I mean, I'm a believer in, my dad was small business, and I'm all for success. If you have success, I mean, just like my son, 4 straight championships, and I think that shows you what hard work and dedication, and that's hey, to beat a team, that's such an honor. But no, we wanted to win our own state championship. It had nothing to do with Montini. I asked these guys, who's our toughest opponent?
Ourselves.
It's not about your opponent. It's about yourself.
Coach, after that kickoff return, that 82-yard kickoff return, that's a perfect time for a lot of the air to be let out of the balloon. You had just finally scored, and then that happened. But you guys responded defensively very well after that. Montini didn't score again. What changed?
Well, I think we just played Cyclone football, and we got the wind, and we battled that. There was a little bit of a wind, and I think we probably had a little bit of jitters. Taking Montini's used to this. They've been through some tough battles. I mean, we have too, but I think we just raised up to the occasion, and it was no fluke that I think we set the state record in scoring, and you saw why. I mean, we faced a great Memphis team that had won the state championship last year, and we faced our conference is very, very good. Hey, what can you say about Rochester winning the 4th? So we were pretty well battled. We hadn't, and I don't think maybe it was too easy for them, and we took them. Number 6 took over on offense, and these guys took over on defense.
When Montini failed to score at the end of the first half, were you feeling pretty good about that?
Well, I was feeling like I was about 35 again. And I think it was time for me. As a head coach, you got to set the tone, and I got the team fired up, and I think half of Montini wanted to take my head off at the time. So, but that was the time that we had to. We started believing. At that point, we knew we could win. We knew that our kids started believing.
I was going to ask about that too. You were clearly fired up. Could you also sense that while you guys were starting to ride at a little bit of a high, that Montini was feeling frustrated at that point? You guys had already stopped him a couple times. They got 1st and goal and couldn't do anything with him. Could you, as a coach, you've been on that side of it, is that a moment where frustration really starts setting in?
Well, I think our athletes, Malik at corner and Nate at free safety, and these guys underneath, and and we have really, really fast defense, and they're almost all seniors. And I tell you what, they put pressure on their quarterback, and I think that was the difference in the game.
Chris, I know I've asked you a little already, but the sack you got at the end of the first half, I mean, were you just able to blow past a guy, or did they miss a block on you? Or, just talk about that sack and what happened.
Well, we had a stunt called to my side, and I went inside, and so none of the linemen blocked me, but they had a running back put on me. I did make a move on him, and then that's when I got to the quarterback and to make that sack. It felt great.
And again, you guys were behind, but I don't know, there's not many times where you go into halftime being behind, but really feel like he said, you're kind of riding a little bit of wave of momentum a little bit.
Mm-hmm, yeah, even though we were behind, the whole team was fired up, whether you were playing or not. We knew that we were making a statement, and we knew that as soon as halftime was over that we were going to come out and hit them in the mouth, and that's what we did, and we showed up and we played the game.
Was there anything with coverages that you guys did? I mean, they set a record for attempts, they had about 35 incompletions, or do you just attribute it to the pressure, like you said?
Well, I think it was a great job by our defensive coordinators, Bob Brunheisen and Jim McMahon had a great game plan, and then I tell you what, the last 5 weeks, our defense has been just shut down. They've really had it, and we had a couple keys that we thought we could read on Montini, and so we were changing the coverages up, and the kids were doing a good job. But again, it's like anything else. The best coverage is good pass rush, and that's we really came on.
Dave, it looked like your ground game was confusing Montini. Can you kind of describe what was going on there?
I don't know about confusing, but we kind of pick one guy out on the defense and we just read him, and then we'll pull guys to the other side, and it started to work, and we just kept doing it.
You seemed to like go attack the perimeter initially, and then
Yeah.
with you up the middle.
Yes, sir.
Cordon, you guys had 4, I think, opportunities at intercepting a pass, whether it was on a deflection, a tip, whatever, and it just seemed like you guys were really close. When you finally did get that interception, was that a little bit of a little bit of pressure off your shoulders as a defense because you guys had had so many opportunities?
Yeah, it was just going through my head. My brother playing the state championship in '08, he got an interception. That was just going through my head, and I dropped a few balls. Like during the playoffs, I've dropped 3 different balls because the club. But this time I caught it, and I was just thinking, wow, this is awesome. We're about to win.
Does Chris
state.
have a club? Chris had a club on his?
Hit me right in the face, man.
We had some drops there. I thought, oh my goodness. You can see why they're playing defense.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how I caught that. It just kind of went into my hands.
Does anybody know who recovered the fumble? It's set up, I think set up your 3rd touchdown. You went in from 6 yards out. Does anybody know who recovered that?
That was Cameron Murphy when he made that strip.
Okay.
Yeah, Cameron Murphy, senior lineman.
Okay.
Did you feel like Gabe and Malik, did you kind of feel Montini's defense was taking away the pass, which opened up the run, or were you guys trying to go for the run early to later on open up the pass?
Well, as we watched film, we discovered that they have a great defense. They drop back into their coverages very well, so we knew that we could use the run to an advantage. We kind of had we motioned Malik or the running backs or Nate across, and it was kind of like a run pass option where if they took somebody with them, then we would run it, and it seemed to be working every time.
It was actually the same formula we had. It was a throwback because in 2009, that's where we went back and watched film when we beat them in 2009, first game. And it's funny because they beat us in 2008. We won a state championship. We beat them in 2009, and they won a state championship. And we saw what they were doing. We thought we knew their coverage, and we knew they were running their 4-1. We brought a back in, and that's when we felt we could block them. Now they got some great players, and I think you saw today that we got 2 young running backs, a sophomore and a junior, and Gabe, and we got a young offensive line, and I think they really came to age, and I think we probably ran the ball against Montini as well as anybody all year, and Joliet Catholic, of course, but that's what they do, but but that was just it was a great game plan by Coach Allison, our offensive coordinator, and the other coaches, and when you got a kid like number 6, it's pretty good. I tell you what, he's a lot like the number 6 here. he's our Jordan Lynch.
One more question?
Ken, could you just, and I know you touched upon it, a certain team from Rochester won it all last night. Talk about both the family aspect of that for you, and the Central State 8 Conference. In the span of less than 24 hours, your conference has won 2 state championships.
Well, I had family in from everywhere, and they were, you probably heard them, but it was very special. When it's your livelihood, it's just like you guys as reporters or whatever. When you can have a son and a father, it's just special. And all my grandkids, and that football isn't our life. Jesus is our life, family, and then football. But football is very much, and I got to give a shout out to my wife. She's the one that helped. She's the one that raised them, and she don't know a lick about football, but she keeps us in line. And the Central State 8 is, I think, we didn't have to put it on the map. It's been put on the map, and we can play with anybody. And Illinois football is great. Illinois football is great. I tell you what, football here. We play a lot of teams. We play teams out of Indiana. Play teams from Tennessee. Play teams from Missouri, and I tell you what, hey, Illinois football is as good as any of them.